Could everybody remember from Pastor Appreciation whenever I was trying to convince everyone that we didn't have a perfect pastor that pastors here, that, sometimes he preaches out of a different book and things like that? Well, bless his heart, if he didn't have to do everything pertaining to the church, and if he had some kind of good help, like maybe an assistant that would help do some things, if he wasn't responsible for everything, then maybe he wouldn't have called everybody at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning to remind you to turn your clock back. Then mine was about 5:30, but some of those first on the list got a 5 o'clock wake-up call that I'm sure they didn't care anything about on Saturday morning. Just a reminder to come to church on time on Sunday. Well, then whenever I opened up Saturday's newspaper, I don't know whether you saw Dennis a Menace, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, Dennis went over to Mr. Wilson's house and rang the doorbell. When Mr. Wilson came to the door, he said, "I just wanted to remind you to turn your clock back," which reminded me of Tim and the church. Now, what I come up here first off for, to get all this laughter out of the way, was about 9:30, about 9 or 9:30, somewhere like that. I called Pastor Tim because I knew that he had stayed with his mom and dad on Saturday night or Friday night, and so I knew that he wouldn't know anything about if anybody did call to complain about the 5 o'clock wake-up call on Saturday morning. He wouldn't know anything about it anyway. So I called him on his cell phone. I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Great." I said, "You have a good night?" He said, "Had a great night. Just leaving Mom and Dad's, about ready to go over and see Ray for a few minutes and then back over to Mom and Dad's." I said, "Good." I said, "Everything going good?" "Yeah, real good." I said, "Great." I said, "Well, I got some news for you." He said, "Did you win another trip?" Because he just loves it when I tell him I've won something. I said, "No, not quite like that this time." I said, "But I did get a wake-up call from my pastor at 5 o'clock this morning." He said, "Oh, no, tell me you're kidding me." It was silent for it seemed like a long time, and I said, "No, not kidding you." I said, "But look at it on the bright side, Tim." I said, "You've had that phone tree for 14 years, and that's the first time that you've ever made a mistake on it." And he said, "That don't help." He said, "Keep going." I said, "Well, the good news is," and I said, "you woke everybody up, no doubt about that." He said, "I'm not coming to church tomorrow." He said, "How about you just preach?" I said, "No, you got to go face the music." He said, "Oh, no." He said, "Worse than that, I got to go over and tell Ray." Well, needless that we know that Ray had already gotten a wake-up call herself. But at any rate, bless his heart. Just too much on his plate. But I got some good news for you. He's gonna take just a day or two sabbatical right after service today. So he'll get him a little bit of rest. He'll get him just a little bit of rest, and he'll be back refreshed with you next Sunday. Now, I believe that we can forgive him. Now, if you can't forgive him, I'll pass around a piece of paper, and if you'd like to be taken off of the phone tree, you just go ahead and sign up. We'll get your number removed, okay?